G'day folks, welcome back to Enshrouded and welcome back to the farm here at Wistful Fields. Hope you guys are doing well. As you can see right behind me, I have been growing quite profusely just these bushes that will give us plant fibers and sticks and stuff. I do have quite a bit in the inventory now, so hopefully we'll be able to essentially make all the things that we need to make with all of the plant fibers that we've been trying to grow. I obviously have a few more of the bushes that I could plant again, but perhaps maybe I won't really do that right now unless we run out of things to do. But yeah, we've got a bit more plant fiber, and yeah, I did all of the work that was required in the previous episode, really. I've got some salt in here. I've got salts elsewhere as well to try and make some bread. But yeah, the primary thing here is just getting enough dried fur so that we can continue making beds and, you know, all sorts of furnishings for all of the people who are eventually going to be housed in this structure. Now, in the previous episode, we did come into a bit of a problem with the roof over the Nook, and I think essentially what the issue is that things are perhaps maybe too perfectly symmetrical here. I probably need to add a bit of width to this room to achieve the look that we are trying to go for. So I feel like maybe in this episode we'll be focusing on that. It may not take as long as I might think, but, you know, depending on any complications that we might run into, it could take a while. But we'll see how we go. Let's just get rid of the roof initially, and that way we should be able to just place it down later. And yeah, I'm gonna have to redo all of the walls over this side, maybe add a little bit more floor pieces to get this to be a little bit wider. But yeah, we do need to perhaps remove this wall here. I was sort of thinking about whether or not I should add width to this side, but I think maybe it's better to do it on this side instead. We don't really have much more space on this side anyway. So yeah, and I think it's perhaps also a lot less complicated in terms of what we've built for some of the other rooms on all of the other levels, for us to try and resolve the issue from this side here, the one that we're obviously working on right now. So let's remove all of that, and yeah, we're basically going to be adding... Oh, hang on. Let me just bring that back 1 second. Yeah, okay. Right. So that should be a bit of a guide there, but what we want is to be adding walls from that side there. It does probably mean that we need, you know, additional thickness on this side as well, or on this level. I'm just gonna see if we can get that done right away. Maybe, yeah, I'll use one of these pieces. A little bit more control. And perhaps maybe I should do things sort of little by little so that we know precisely whether or not we're getting things right. So might just do that much initially on the ground floor. And we need, I'd say, conifer wood for the floors. There's something going on over there. Ah, okay. It's just a little rabbit. I thought it could have been one of our, like, animals, which I most certainly don't want to be, you know, caught up in any of this. But yeah, unfortunately for us, an update has brought about some enemies within our vicinity, which I don't really like. Perhaps if I upgraded the flame one more time, maybe it might encompass the area over here and perhaps prevent enemies from spawning. Or perhaps not, who knows. Because if we do start building around this area, we're sort of encroaching enemy territory, and that's not really ideal. I'm not sure what happens if any of our NPCs are close to enemies. Would they fight them, is my question. Haven't really seen what happens when they are, I guess, under threat. Okay, so that's looking good, and then now, again, let's just use some smaller pieces, but the idea is we just want something like that. We continue upwards. Let's just re-inspect from the outside. That looks good, but we haven't exactly done too much on the attic, so, or in the attic section. So let me just remove all of that. And yeah, I don't think we need to add a little bit more like height here with this material, with the half timbered block. We probably do need to start using the refined wood. Yeah, we probably do need to redo certain sections here as we rebuild the roof. But that's fine. I guess this is, if you want to call it that, a bit of a test to make sure that we are getting exactly what we're after in terms of aesthetics. So let's just try and rebuild the roof on this side. How are we looking? Are we getting what we're after? Not quite, but I think once we do the very top, we might get that. So let's give it another try. I'm starting to have my doubts now. What is going on? Wait a sec. Okay. Things haven't even started from the right location. So if I can get things right. That'd be a decent start. Okay, I think that's what we want. And that. Yeah, this is where things get tricky. Okay. So we are getting the aesthetic there. Question is, can we replicate that when we add the additional layer on top? No. Why? Why is that? Yeah, okay. I thought I had this, whoa, kind of sorted. And therefore I was a bit more comfortable trying to make a start on this Nook. So, what are we getting wrong? Let's just make things a little easier on us. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's what we're after. So it does work. Yeah, I think I just got the wrong angles and stuff. Okay, so having confirmed that we are getting the aesthetic that we want, I think what we do next is continue on building the Nook initially, and then we'll fix up the rest of the roof afterwards. That looks good there. Let's just climb down and let's do what we need to on this side. Yeah, come to think of it, we just probably want to bring that down to that level, but no more. Okay, looks good, and I just want to make an opening here. We can get in and out ourselves. Okay. Second story. Let's go for it. And I need to move that candle, actually. I didn't realize it was there. Let's do maybe a smaller piece. Alright. Looking good. Maybe we just fix up the wall over here. Just making sure that we've plugged up any gaps that I can't see. Alright. Let's climb back up and let's try and finish this off. So, refined wood going in. Okay, looks good. And now we just need that roof. So let's hope we can get this done without too much of an issue. Feeling a little bit better now that we've already done the test though, so I think things should go relatively well. Alright, goodness me, guys. That was a bit more effort than I thought it would be, but yeah, we did end up needing to clean up quite a bit on the inside after placing down all of the roof tiles. I think things are looking really, really nice though. The roof tiles are, you know, exactly the right style, and I don't mind having a little bit more extra space in the Nook than what we initially imagined. Obviously I do need to repair the wall up over this way. We could maybe even do a bespoke, you know, window like we're planning on this side as well, so a bit more effort, but at the very least we've got the space sort of carved out. We've got a couple of rooms here, so we should be able to house people. One thing that I'm not entirely sure of, though, is what to do in the corners of this space, and whether or not there's anything that we could do to make it look a little nicer. Yeah, and not to mention, there's a bit of a gap that you can see here, which is not really that desirable, although perhaps maybe the reason for that is because what I should be doing is perhaps bringing more of this wood a little bit further up. If I can get the right angle. Maybe something like that. I think that makes a bit of sense. Close up the gaps there, and I think that's actually symmetrical now. I think it wasn't symmetrical before. So what I was thinking of while I was sort of building all of that was, should I, you know, perhaps maybe add a little bit more of the wood. Hang on, we're not using the right pieces here. Should I, you know, give this a little bit more wood like so? Which might work. And additionally, what you could do is you could separate this out as a separate room altogether. So that's another possibility, but I think maybe we don't need to do that. I'm sort of thinking about how I want to use the space. Look, I don't really know if we need to house another person, but if we don't, then we could use this room as a bit of a common area where people can sort of sit down, relax, read a book, you know, hang out, stuff like that. Again, they're not actually going to be doing that, but we can imagine that that would be how the space is used. So we've got a few platforms here and there to help us move around this place a little bit easily while we're still building the place. And I'm thinking of just leaving all of that for the time being, in case we need it. So it is time now for us to move on to more furnishings, because, you know, we got a little bit stuck in the previous episode trying to get some furnishings in. I could probably do with a bit more lighting here and there as well. So let's get stuck into that. Perhaps maybe a few more candles and stuff are in order. I actually do have candles that I didn't use, actually, from the previous episode. Maybe I should just place more of these down. That way we can light up, especially the basement, a little bit more so we can see what the hell we're doing down here. Yeah, I think just... yeah, something like that, that will help us, you know, see the common area a little bit more. Maybe a couple more on this wall. And I could put more over here. There is a little bit of light coming from the fireplace there. Almost wanted to call it a stove. It has that stove kind of quality, doesn't it? Alright, so that's looking good. Do we need a bit more lighting elsewhere? Staircase has quite a bit of lighting, which is good. I suppose maybe I'm going to need more lighting here. I could perhaps bring down a chandelier in this spot as well. Might make sense. Maybe one on top of each door. Okay, with that, we're out of candles. I've got, I mean, these candles here, but I do want to make the wall-mounted ones. Just trying to think of where else we're going to need some. And I don't want to overdo it either. Like, this space here, I feel, could do with just regular old candles that are just sitting down on the floor. Might not be a bad idea, just to do something like that. And perhaps over here as well, but I like the idea of perhaps maybe having a few barrels and stuff, and then we can put the candles on top of barrels. But yeah, we're fresh out of candles right now, so let's go ahead and make some more. And we should be continuing to make beds and all that sort of stuff, but I sort of need to figure out how many more beds and stuff that I need, because we did end up putting down a few. Yeah, the crude wooden beds, I mean, I could use this, but I think it's okay for us to give people some nicer beds, to be honest. Right, so, candles first, though. Decorative. Okay. Oh, I don't really have a lot of wax, apparently. So, we are going to have some limitations on what we can make. There's always something, it seems, that I forget to make and forget to gather up. And this time, it seems like the answer is wax. So, yeah, I do want to make ourselves more of these, the wooden beds. Perhaps maybe I could do another 3. But that's not what I came for. I came for lighting. It's always difficult to find what you want. Here. Alright, so let's do... perhaps we'll go with 6 and see how that fares.
One block at a time.
Chandeliers. Yeah, maybe I could start thinking about getting chandeliers in. The corridor on the second story seems a little dark at the moment, so why not? Let's get a little bit more lighting in here. And as I said in previous episodes, I feel like maybe not all of the candles are really aligned in the right spots, so We'll tidy things up a little bit later once we've, you know, got more things planned out. And, you know, that's perhaps it. From a lighting perspective. Ground floor's got plenty of light. What about the rooms themselves? I've forgotten if we ended up getting enough candles for each and every room. We may have. Just inspecting beds. Stone beds. So, we obviously have the stone beds for the basement. And I feel like we're missing 2. So we'll need to go back and make those. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at least. So we need a couple more of the regular beds and then a couple more of the stone ones. Go ahead and get that done. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do.
Ah, my favourite patron.
Yeah, we could even make some of these firefly, like lamps and stuff. I don't mind that. But I guess I do want to focus on using candles where I can. I think they look much better. Oh, we're out of nails, apparently. Oh, and I need more mint mushroom meats. Okay. Well, that is a problem, isn't it? Was not banking on needing to get these mint mushrooms. I think mint mushrooms are something that you get from those, obviously the mushroom enemies, but I'm just trying to remember if it's the shrouded type that I need to try and get, or if it's the regular type. I think it's the regular ones, which we should be able to find maybe in the Revelwood. So, anyway, let's focus on getting a few nails. Man, didn't we just craft like 100 nails or something like that recently? I feel like we run out so quickly. There. Okay. So that should give us at least the ability to get the 2 beds that we need, the regular ones. So let's place these down. And you know what? All this time playing the game, one thing that I haven't really thought of is outdoor lighting. And outdoor furnishings and stuff like that for the town itself. I guess it's a little bit hard to think about until you really know exactly how many buildings you're going to end up with and, you know, how much lighting you actually need. But yeah, I suppose we do need to think about that sometime soon. So these guys are the lucky ones who get some nice spacious rooms in the attic. And yeah, it's hard to believe we would say that sentence because normally if someone's housed in the attic, they don't really get a lot of room, do they? Whereas these guys, they're lucky. They've got a bit of space to work with. So I think that's pretty good. We could, you know, like rotate beds and stuff like that very slightly to give them a little bit more charm as they sit within, you know, the rooms themselves. So I'm not married to having them snapping to certain positions. So we can move things around if we need to. But for the moment, I'm just placing things where they need to be, and then we'll finesse things a little bit more as we go. Perhaps maybe I can put this in the middle, like that. Doesn't seem like a bad idea. Okay, looking good, and one more stone bed. And we'll add it there. So this room obviously doesn't have a stone bed. So I want to try and look for the mint mushrooms now. I could potentially do that. I don't think it'll take too long. But another thing that I was sort of thinking about recently was whether or not we might have too much space. I guess it will really come down to, you know, how much space we have remaining, or perhaps maybe how much space we still don't have, depending on when we place people down, or not place people down, but like assign people in their beds. But yeah, anyway, mint mushrooms. So where are we likely to find these guys? I would say maybe around here, maybe even down here, potentially. Might actually go in this direction. And we'll hope for the best. Across the river. Yeah, as soon as I get like the 4 mint mushrooms, I think I'll go back. Not really interested in anything else. Plenty of piggies. I can't remember if it's the Revelwood or somewhere else where we need to find these mushrooms. Got bats over there, not interested in those. More piggies. Yeah, I'm not really seeing any around here. So, just gonna go back. Maybe we'll fly to a different direction. So we went over here. Perhaps maybe if we went... maybe northeast? Do we get a lot of them in the Black Mire? I can't remember. Perhaps maybe there are a few in the Black Mire. Where are we trying to reach? Just over here, past this big boulder that we can see. Big boulder? Big mountain? Mountain that looks like a boulder. Are boulders mountains? Are mountains boulders? I guess. Maybe they could be. They could be boulders. Gigantic boulders. Here are a couple. Nice. Alright, and we're gonna wanna try and get the sacks. There we go. And we should have one more. I'm just trying to get access to Yeah, okay, so that's 3. Hang on a second. I didn't get any mint mushrooms that time. Why is that? Perhaps maybe these are not the enemies that I'm actually looking for. Yeah, okay, they're giving us poison sacks, which means that... Oh! My bad, guys. So it's not the mushroom enemies that we're looking for, it's actual mushrooms, I think. Come to think of it. Yeah, it's hard to keep track of absolutely everything in this game at times. But yeah, mint mushrooms, I think we need to find actual mushrooms to cut down. Ooh. I'm gonna have to remember where they are exactly. Okay. That was actually a very, very good guess on my part. Yeah, as soon as I, like, hear the words mushroom, I always automatically assume that we need to fight the mushroom enemies, which is not the case. Probably do want to make myself a little bit of space here. Poison sacks, well, I guess I can keep some. We don't really get poison sacks very often, just in case we need them. So I think we might need the poison sacks if we're going to make, like, the poison-laced arrows. I know I said I would go immediately as soon as we get the amount that we want, but there are so many of these mushrooms here, we may as well gather a few. But I am going to need to make my way out of the shroud. I think that's going to be too hard. Got a little bit more, what is this, tin or something. I might actually mark this down. Always nice to know where resources might be. Doesn't seem like a big amount, but perhaps maybe once you start digging you might actually get a decent enough, like, vein. Okay, so Perhaps we can climb out here. Yeah, okay. We could pretty much portal out from here. So let's go ahead and do that. And we should be able to make the beds now. Where's Cade when you need him? Maybe upstairs.
Hello there.
Okay, so one of the beds coming right up. Just trying to look at all of our materials here, but appears like we don't really have a lot of string either. Might want to resolve the string issue, to be honest.
I can do it.
Lest I get stuck not having enough string for stuff in the future. Let's do another chandelier. That's probably the only chandelier that I'm going to be able to get, though. This room is looking still pretty barren, isn't it? Like, to be fair, I haven't really done a good job so far at decorating the second home that we've built. So, there is a lot to do. Plenty more stuff to get done. So, we do have this extra chandelier. The question is, where do I want to place this chandelier initially? I think a couple of spots could do with a little bit of extra light. And that would be, you know, here in the common area of the basement. And that looks good. But you could argue for a chandelier up here as well for the second story common area. But yeah, this is what we came here for, so let's get this bed in. Man, this room is tiny. Now that I think about it. Tiny as hell. Whoever gets assigned this room is not going to appreciate the space that they have. I wonder if we can realign the bed in a way that makes a little bit more sense. Maybe what needs to happen is the bed needs to be like super close to the wall, like that. It almost it almost feels like a prison cell. I mean, we've got the same thing going on over here. Maybe I'll do the same thing, but maybe face it the other way, like that. So the door is not going to interfere. They're going to be able to reach the bed. I think there should be room for like a small table, or maybe even a desk and a chair. Maybe some shelves with some books. But yeah, it's not a lot of space. I wish there was such a thing as like bunk beds. Especially if you're starting out. I think bunk beds would be kind of good to temporarily house people. But yeah, I mean, just thinking out loud. Right, is there anything else we want to do in this episode? I feel like I've achieved almost everything that I want to do, but we have maybe a few bits and pieces, bits and bobs in here, which we might be able to make use of, right? So let me just house a few items, because I don't really want to be carrying all of this constantly. Oh, and you know, I keep forgetting that while I'm doing all this building, you know, I could be doing a whole bunch of stuff like growing things or letting things process. Again, I've been doing a lot of that sort of stuff between episodes, because you guys have seen a lot of that sort of stuff before, but sometimes I sort of think about how to efficiently use our time. These seedlings, I probably don't need to hang on to these seedlings right now. I'll probably put these away. I've got tons of these seedlings though, so they're sort of getting in the way. Oh yes, that's right. We did talk about running out of string, so it might not be a bad idea for us to start thinking about making some more string. And I believe you can efficiently get more string by using one of the machines instead of crafting it yourself. Just double check on that. Yeah, here. So we can chuck plant fibers in here to get heaps of string. Yeah, let's do that. Cool. So we should have tons of string. We've got quite a bit of wool. Obviously can make more wool, but we'll increase our string production for the time being. I'll replant a whole bunch of these bushes between episodes, but as I said before, I think there's maybe a few bits and pieces that I could perhaps place down in the house itself. Including a lot of the furnishings here that we have. I mean, we're likely going to be using the carved wooden window frames. We've got 9 of them. But yeah, these tables. I know there's a few other knickknacks here as well, which I don't mind placing down, but I think things like masonry tools, we might wait until we know who's occupying which room before placing stuff like that down. Okay, so back we go. I'm really happy with where we're at though, guys. Things are coming along quite nicely. Alright, so let's do these. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm just thinking, probably want to save some of the frames for that, but I suppose I could just like make more. Sorry about that, guys. Just had to take a quick phone call, but back again. And I think we're, you know, almost done with the episode anyway. I'm just placing down a few of these window pieces where we can. Again, probably not all, you know, fixed in terms of where everything's going for the moment. We could end up moving things around, maybe even the windows themselves might move position, depending on what happens. But at least having things in the relative space will help in the long run, because we'll hopefully be able to then move things around all in the one go and not have to, you know, keep fetching stuff, toing and froing between all of our storage containers and stuff. Is that every single window? We might have hit almost every window. If anything, there's probably a need to create like some windows for the ground floor room, the entrance. And maybe I can just quickly do that now to finish things off. Maybe something like that. One thing that I haven't really experimented with too much though, guys, is having like larger windows. I would like to be able to do that for certain spaces. But I just don't know what window pieces to use if we wanted to achieve something like that. I guess it's just a matter of playing around with it all. Again, you never know, we might have bookcases and stuff like that that need to be placed where we're building some of these windows, so, you know, if that's the case, we'll have to move stuff around. I feel like we probably don't need as many candles now that we've got a few windows in here, but look, we might still need the candles anyway when it gets dark. Maybe we need to move things slightly. Yeah, maybe something like that. Maybe even a little bit more for the middle one. How many blocks between? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So around here. Let's just quickly grab a candle up there. Probably don't need that. Place that in. Just there. Let's take a look at this from the outside. Yeah, we're definitely getting there, aren't we? I like it. Yeah, so definitely need a few more window pieces now that we've done all of that. There's maybe an argument to be made for some windows out this way as well. I don't know how many. Could fit in 2, maybe 3. Let's just make sure we've got the right spacing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, looks good. Let's have a look. Yeah, very nice. More openings for the second story. I think we tried to do that in the previous episode, or the episode before that. And, I don't know, I feel like I didn't stick with it because we were perhaps overlooking the farm. And, I guess I was sort of being a little bit realistic with it, but, if you do something like that, all the farm smells are going to come in, which it may not be the most pleasant experience for the people in some of these rooms. But you know what, I should suspend the realism and perhaps maybe just make some of these windows. I think it makes sense. Yeah. And so we can do another one over here. There we go. Imagine the smells wafting into this room. Oh man. Let's see. Any other windows I want to try and make? I guess I could go to the attic and perhaps make a few more windows there. Or do I even need to do that? Maybe not. There's going to be a window here eventually. Let's just inspect this from the outside. Yeah. That looks good. I like it. Alright. I think this is the episode, guys. So, as I said, when we get back, or I'm not sure if I actually mentioned this before, but when we get back in the next episode, I think it is going to be time, finally, for us to assign people beds and actually give people a home. And once we've assigned everyone and we figure out who's who in the zoo, we can decorate each room accordingly. But, having said that, I think now's a perfect time to come back to decorating the other house, because we haven't done that just yet. I'm sort of just in emergency building mode because I want to get people housed, so that I can then move on to expanding or upgrading the flame once more. And that way we'll have access to even better stuff, and I actually don't really know what else is needed for, well, for the strengthening of the flame itself, but also, you know, whether or not there's going to be another level after that. Again, I'm very, very behind with the recent updates. Wool, gentian, ice, okay, we're gonna have to mine some ice. The Cyclops head. Okay, I'm surprised we don't already have one. Perhaps maybe we did use it for something else, but I'm gonna need to figure out how to get a fell Cyclops head in that case. But yeah, that's going to be for another episode, obviously. Hope you enjoyed this episode, guys, and hopefully you've enjoyed the series so far. If you have, dropping that like on the video, especially on the very first one in the series, if you're, you know, coming in pretty new, would be very greatly appreciated and definitely helps the channel out quite a bit. Thank you very much for your patience with me in this series, guys. Do appreciate it. Stay true. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.